Hello, I'm Krista Hart, and I want to welcome you to the Mindful Music Classroom. In this session, we're going to learn about what social emotional learning is and how it can be integrated into your classroom or rehearsal. There is a PDF guide that goes along with this session, and I hope you'll either print it out or have it open on your screen as we go along, because there's some opportunities for you to reflect. If we were in the room together, we would then share these reflections with a partner or with the whole group. But in this virtual setting, you'll have to hold yourself accountable for doing the work of reflection. Let's start with a writing prompt to set the tone for this session. On your guide or any piece of paper, give a response to these 3 questions. Pause the video for a few minutes to give yourself time to write. 1. Write one reason you're excited about the future. 2. What personal achievement are you most proud of? And 3. Write about a time you witnessed a light bulb moment for one of your students. So what is SEL? SEL, or social emotional learning, refers to the process of developing and exhibiting the skills, behaviors, and attitudes that lead to healthy identities, emotional management, supportive relationships, and responsible decisions. These skills are hard to quantify, but they must be learned in order to successfully navigate school, life, and work. People with strong social emotional skills can more easily cope with challenges, manage emotions, and achieve goals. Incorporating SEL into your classroom means that you're creating opportunities for students to rehearse and apply these skills. These skills are universally transferable. They apply anywhere: class, a career, any life situation. And SEL is not the practices themselves. It's not a 3-minute activity that you set aside in your classroom and check the box for SEL. These are connected practices that collectively build and contribute to the development of SEL. Ideally, it's interwoven into classroom practices so that it would be hard to tell SEL activities apart from other routines. And hopefully students are given multiple opportunities throughout the day to practice these competencies. You want to give your students voice and choice in your classroom. You want to build a growth mindset so that students know they can grow, and encourage them to see the connection between what you're teaching and how it connects to their own lives and goals. So here are the 5 competencies of social emotional learning. 1, self-awareness. The ability to recognize your own emotions, thoughts, and values, and how they influence your behavior in different situations. So questions you might ask yourself would be, how well do you know yourself? What is your place in the world? Are you able to recognize your own emotions? What are your strengths, needs, and values? Next is self-management, the ability to effectively manage your emotions, thoughts, and behaviors to achieve your personal and collective goals. So, can you control your impulses? Are you able to manage stress in a healthy way? Do you exhibit self-motivation and discipline? Can you set and achieve goals for yourself? And how do you manage your time? Social awareness is the ability to understand the perspectives of and empathize with others, including those from diverse backgrounds and cultures, and to understand broader historical and social norms for behavior. How well do you get along with others? How much do you understand about your own community? Do you value a diversity of perspectives? Do you show empathy and respect toward others? Relationship skills. These are the ability to establish and maintain healthy relationships and to effectively navigate settings with diverse individuals and groups. How well do you communicate and engage with others? Are you a good friend? Are you able to work cooperatively with people? How do you resolve conflicts? Do you see the similarities and differences between people in a group? And finally, responsible decision making, the ability to make positive and constructive choices about your behavior and social interactions across diverse situations, and to evaluate the consequences of your actions for personal and collective well-being. Are you making good choices? Can you identify and solve problems? Do you take personal responsibility for your decisions and actions? So, why is SEL important? SEL can have an impact in both the short and long term. Developing these skills can improve a student's academic performance and personal well-being and lead to healthy and successful adults. People with strong social emotional skills are better equipped to solve problems, confront challenges, have healthy relationships, and to succeed, whether it's in academics, career, or just socially in life. SEL provides a foundation for long-term benefits that last way after they leave your classroom. Research has shown that these are some of the benefits of social emotional learning: more positive behaviors and relationships, reduced conduct problems, improved grades and attendance, decreased emotional distress, increased likelihood for graduating, increased readiness for career success. SEL builds those soft skills that the business world is now identifying as highly desirable. So you can see how SEL has sort of a domino effect, where when students grow in these areas, it can lead to a stronger program and a more enjoyable classroom experience for everyone. And what about you? It's hard to teach something without learning about it yourself. So implementing SEL strategies into your curriculum means that you will be giving yourself the chance to reflect on and improve your own skills. The personal growth that SEL encourages can be just as much for the teacher as for the student. Let's take a moment to reflect a bit. On your paper or your guide, answer these questions. How do you see social emotional competencies show up in your life? Which competencies do you personally need to strengthen? Go ahead and pause the video for as long as you need to answer. So you might be wondering, don't we already do this in music class? In many ways, yes, we do. It may not have been labeled as SEL, but many aspects of the competencies are naturally occurring in what we do in a music class. We are asking students to do things like identify emotions, which is self-awareness, work collaboratively in a group, which is social awareness, relationship skills, and we ask them to exhibit the discipline to practice self-management. Music educators have the added benefit of being able to build authentic relationships with students, and because you see the same students year over year. Plus, we have text that can spark great conversations. Here's an example of a choral piece with a text that is rich with SEL opportunities. While you listen, write down other examples of how SEL shows up in your own choir or classroom. Here's Be a Light.
In a time full of war, be peace. In a time full of doubt, just believe. Yeah, there ain't that much difference between you and me. In a time full of war, be peace. In a world full of hate, be a light. When you do somebody wrong, make it right. Don't hide, you were born to shine. In a world full of hate, be a light. better breathe, better live it. In a place that needs a change, make a difference. Make a difference now. In a world full of hate, be alive. When you do somebody wrong, make it right. Oh, don't hide in the dark. You were born to shine. In a world full of hate, be alive. La 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 la. La 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 la. In a race that you can't win, slow it down. Yeah, you only get one go round. 'Cause the finish line is 6 feet in the ground. In a race you can't win, just slow it down. In a world full of hate, be alive. When you do somebody wrong, make it right. Don't hide in the dark. You were born to shine. In a world full of hate, be alive. Yeah, it's hard to live in color. Yeah, it just seems black and white. In a world full of hate, be alive.
So, just a quick disclaimer, lest you think I believe that this is an easy thing to implement. It does take time. You are establishing a whole culture implementing SEL into your approach to teaching. You're going to want to assess where your students are currently at, how much trust have you established with them already. Be sure to start small and build on what you begin with. And then don't label it. Don't say we're going to do SEL now, but just make it a natural activity that's integrated into what you already do in music class. So let's talk about how we rehearse. What is the purpose of music? We have all heard those groups perform that have excellent precision, right notes, right rhythms, the chords are all in tune, but somehow we're left feeling empty. It doesn't really touch our heart. But those technical aspects are not all there is to music, right? There's an emotional connection, an emotional experience that we want students to feel and our audiences to feel. We're striving for that, and we're actually craving that connection. In terms of SEL, this can play out in how you choose music. Are you selecting titles that are impressive in the choral director world? Do you feel pressure to program certain voicings? Why do we sort of generally dismiss the idea of singing a piece in unison or two parts when we know that singing accurately and beautifully in unison is actually the hardest thing we can do? The journey is just as important as the destination. What is the experience like for students in your rehearsal? Do you place as much value on the experiences students have along the way as you do on the experience of performing? We need to provide opportunities for reflection throughout the rehearsal process. Oftentimes we wait until after the performance and say, how did we sound? But we really need to open up space for those conversations to happen, for feedback to be given, for students to describe what they're hearing, notice things, and offer ideas for improvement all the way through the rehearsal process. Think about all the stopping and starting we do in our choral rehearsal. And I know I get frustrated by it because I want that cathartic experience of singing through an entire piece or a passage without a stop, because I want to, satisfy that emotional connection to the music. So think about making those moments available in the rehearsal process as you go along. At what point in the rehearsal process do we talk about the emotions behind the music, the story of the text, the decisions that are made, in the text by the characters or by the writer or by us as we interpret it. I encourage you to not wait until all the notes and rhythms have been perfectly learned and the final chord is in tune and everyone is watching you as cellorando. No, before then, get into expression and what's going on behind the words of the piece. I've been in that situation before where you rehearse a piece for months, and then a week before the concert, the director lets you in on some vital piece of information about the text or why the song was written. And then it feels like when you hear the lyrics wrong to a pop song, and then you find out what the words really are, and it changes the whole meaning of the song. So repertoire choice is very important in this process, and we're so lucky that we have the benefit of words in choral music. So look for texts that support SEL growth and conversations that you can include in your program. Be sensitive and intentional about selecting song texts. Include student interests in your decisions about what you're going to study or perform. And then again, allow opportunities for singers to express their connection to the song. This could be a writing prompt or a group discussion or pair and share, lots of different opportunities along the way. Including SEL in your lesson planning is part of making it intentional. So deliberately write down the strategy or activity and the SEL competency that it will address. Then you'll be able to see and document how often you are building in these opportunities to practice the skills, and it's more likely that you'll actually do it if it's written down. Giving up control as a director. Now, this may be easier for some of us than others. Giving your students voice and choice or agency is really important. So look for those ways that you can make rehearsal collaborative and create leadership roles, incorporating your students into more of the decision-making process. Okay, let's take a look at some specific activities that you can use to incorporate SEL into your choir. Breathing exercises. Obviously, in music class, especially choir, we're doing a lot of breathing and breathing exercises. So how about adding in a few extra that are more geared toward mindfulness than vocal technique? The good news is the mindfulness can also bring awareness of what the body is doing, which has a great benefit for your vocal technique as well. Let's try one. This is hand tracing. So you will put your hand out in front of you. You're going to take your other hand and trace the outline of your thumb and fingers. As you start from the bottom of the finger or thumb, you're going to inhale and then exhale on the way down. Inhale and exhale. And this is done at your own pace. You breathe at whatever tempo feels good to you. And as you're doing this exercise, all you need to think about is your breath, just feeling the inhale and the exhale and that finger moving along the outline of your hand. So let's try it together. Breathe at your own pace. I'm going to go a little faster than I normally would just because we're on a webinar here. Nice. So again, you're just concentrating on your breath and the feeling of that finger moving along the outline. And when we exhale on this exercise or any exercise, we're actually stimulating the vagus nerve. We're activating that vagus nerve. It goes from the brain to the heart and regulates both parts of our nervous system, which is responsible for our emotional response and expression. Additionally, breathing is essential for developing that sense of community. Breathe together. How often do we say that in our choirs? And of course, we're generally speaking about the musical purpose, but there's a larger purpose as well. There was a study in Sweden that showed that singers' heart rates actually synchronized as they sang in unison together, mostly from the controlled and synchronized breathing. There's something really beautiful and meaningful about that. And these mindfulness breathing exercises, don't reserve them just for the beginning of class during the warm-up. They can really be useful throughout rehearsal to refocus, to release tension, or to transition from one activity to another. Speaking of transitioning to another activity, let's go to the strengths bingo. You'll find the strengths bingo game in your guide, your PDF guide. Now, this activity helps students recognize the strengths of others, and it can be a fun opening to a self-inventory of strengths. We all have strengths and weaknesses, and a good team or community or choir knows how to call on the strengths of its members. So to play this game, you give each student a copy of the bingo card, and then they will go around and find a classmate that has the strength listed in each box, have that student sign the box. The first one to get 5 signed squares in a row wins, or get the whole page filled wins, however you want to play it. After the activity, then that's a great opportunity to talk about what they learned from their classmates and give examples of how they exhibit those strengths that were listed. You can go even further and ask students to add their initials to the boxes that list their own strengths, or add another row of boxes to the bottom of the list to add additional strengths, because obviously there are way more than the 25 strengths that are listed on this game. That's just the tip of the iceberg. Another activity is the community puzzle. This works great kind of for a beginning of the year or a choir retreat. So before this group activity, you're going to have to complete a pretty good sized jigsaw puzzle. And then you will divide that puzzle into sections and put each section's pieces into a baggie or envelope. Then remove one piece from each baggie or envelope and switch it to a different one, so that each baggie has one puzzle piece that doesn't fit with the rest of those pieces. You're going to divide your students into groups. Give them each one of the baggies of puzzle pieces. Then the groups will go off separately and complete their part of the puzzle. Then bring it to the central table where the full puzzle will be assembled. So students will be working together to figure out where their section of the puzzle fits in, plus where their mystery piece can be used to complete another group's section. In the end, the beauty is every piece belongs. And you can tie this into choral music by relating it to how parts fit together in a specific piece of music, the balance between voice parts, blend, and how that one voice can stick out just like that one mystery piece. Lots of ways that you can get some SEL conversations going, talk about the way that the choir works together. And there's a choral piece that fits in perfectly with this activity called The Puzzle by Andy Beck.
First, we start assembling part by part, one by one. The puzzle will get done. First, we start very smart, piece by piece and part by part, one by one. Oh, what fun! We will get the puzzle done. First we start very smart, assemble piece by piece and part by part, one by one. Oh, what fun! The puzzle, we will get the puzzle done. smart. First we start very smart. Let's make a work of art.
Here are some activities that you can use for the beginning of class. In your PDF guide, you'll see an example of an entrance slip. This one has a musical idea of a scale. And this is a way for students to reflect and identify how they are feeling as they enter your classroom. And then you can use that information from them to understand what's going on with them before a disruptive situation might occur. And if you see that a student is high up on the scale, then that informs your understanding of their behavior that day and your response to it. So that student might need to take advantage of a decrescendo zone. What is a decrescendo zone? This is a designated place in your classroom where a student can go to, on their own, take some time to compose themselves, get their emotions in check. This is not a place that you send someone. This is a place that students know they can go to on their own, make their own decision to exit from the group situation to compose themselves. It works best if this place is clearly in your sight line as the teacher, but not in the direct view of the class. You can outfit your decrescendo zone with materials like positive and calming posters, fidget spinners, breathing exercises, written meditations, a place to put their head down, anything to make them feel comfortable and relaxed. Another idea is emotional traffic lights. These are red, yellow, and green circles that you can stick on the front of choral folders with Velcro or glue dots. This lets students give you a visual on how they're feeling that day, red, yellow, or green. And then roses, thorns, and rosebuds. This is a great group activity that you can do where each person that chooses to can share something good, a challenge or a struggle, or something that they are looking forward to. That's the rosebud. Giving and receiving compliments. Also in the guide, you will see a worksheet or part of a worksheet that's about teaching students to give and receive compliments. And this worksheet and all the things from the guide come from the Mindful Music Classroom book that you can find for sale on alfred.com or any music retailer. So in the music world, we are continually giving or receiving compliments. And it can be challenging for some people to feel comfortable doing either. Being part of a good and respectful musician or audience member is handling these situations. And of course, that carries over into any other part of your life. If you're giving a speech or hitting a home run or getting a lead in the play or supporting a friend who's doing any of those things and so on. So learning to do that in a constructive and meaningful way is what that worksheet is about. And that's a great SEL skill to encourage in your students. Friendship Web is a great activity for a retreat, or maybe just after a big performance or an achievement with a group. What you're going to do is take a large skein of yarn and tie one end to your finger or wrap it around your finger, then toss the skein to a student and either give them a compliment or an expression of gratitude. Then that student is going to wrap the string around their finger. So now we have a string from you to that person, and they'll toss it to the next person, make a positive statement or a statement of gratitude about them. And you continue to build this web until every student has been included. When you finish, you could give each student a little piece of the yarn as a reminder of what was said about them. Or you could get crafty and knit the yarn into a banner to display in your classroom. There's lots of great choral pieces on the topic of friendship. I want to share one with you today, which is called Call Me Friend, and it's by Ruth Morris Gray.
can live my life on earth, contented to the end, contented to the end. If but a few shall know my worth, and proudly call me friend. I may not own the skill to rise to glory's topmost height, nor win a place among the wise, but I can keep the right, and I can live my life on contented to the end, contented to the end. If but a few shall shine and proudly call me friend. How heavy do I journey on the way, when what I seek my weary travels doth teach that ease and that repose to say. Thus far the miles are measured from thy friend, and I can live life on, contented to the end, contented to the end. If but a few shall shine and proudly call me friend, and I can live contented to the end, contented to the end. If but a few shall shine and proudly call me friend. And proudly call me
Here are some more suggestions for you, more ideas on how to incorporate SEL into your class. Have students make suggestions for concert programs. And this could be a formal assignment where they're going online and listening to music and finding pieces that meet a certain criteria. Or it could be something more casual, less formal, where you're just letting students know that you are open to hearing their suggestions about what music they're going to perform. You can ask students to solve the musical challenges that come up in class. So during rehearsal, a problem comes up, an issue in the music. Instead of fixing it in your usual manner and taking care of it and moving on, why not ask the singers what they think the choir should do to fix this problem? I think you'll find that they'll come up with some creative and innovative ideas. It's a good check for their understanding about whether they understand what the problem is and what sorts of actions it would take to fix it. And then you might come up with some things that are really cool ideas that you'll use again in the future. And think about changing the questions that you ask. Think about things like, how could we work together to solve this? Or how do you know that when something is said in class? How do we know that this is true? What did you learn? Or what would you do differently next time? And encourage students to take responsibility. This could be something formal like class officers, or less formal where for each concert, a different student is in charge of uniforms or music or folders. Spread that around so that it's not the same students every time taking on those leadership or responsibility roles. And then check-ins. Performing a quick check-in either during a lesson or at the end of rehearsal can really help students reflect and process, and it gives you in-the-moment feedback on their understanding. This doesn't need to be something written out. It could be something simple and nonverbal, like a cue with your hand, thumbs up, thumbs down, thumb to the side, or using 5 fingers to rate themselves in response to a question like, do you feel ready to move on to the next step? Or rate your level of understanding about what you're supposed to do next. If you see a lot of 2s or 1s, then you know you need to back up a little bit. If you see the 4s and 5s, you know you're on pace and ready to move on to the next thing. So let's do a quick check-in with you. Pause the video and write down your thoughts and ideas about implementing social emotional learning into your classroom. Pause the video as long as you need. Here are some resources that I think will be helpful to you along this journey of implementing SEL. These are also listed in your PDF guide. I hope you'll take a look at 2 books that I've written to help support your SEL initiatives. One is a music teacher's gratitude journal. This is written obviously for you as a teacher to reflect and think about your teaching and reflect on gratitude as well. All the prompts throughout the book are different, so you'll be hopefully constantly inspired by what the prompts are, and they all center around your inner musician, your teaching, and gratitude in general. The other book I wrote is called The Mindful Music Classroom, and many of the activities that we've talked about today or that you see on your PDF guide are from this book. It's all activities that you can use in your classroom. There's a wealth of choral repertoire that can be used for implementing SEL. And we're so lucky on the choral side of things to have not only great music, but also these great lyrics. And lyrics can be so powerful, and you know that from your own musical experience. The songs that have stuck with you over the years, the poetry that made an impact on you, or just that sort of sense of experiencing, remembering what you were experiencing in life while you were working on a certain song. So some tips for making the most of this emotional connection to lyrics. Obviously, teach the text, not just the notes. Dig into the meaning of even individual words to make sure students understand what's going on in the text and use that to improve musical expression. And of course, be sensitive and intentional about selecting song texts for your group. You can find a list of recommended choral music with SEL themes at alfred.com/choralsel in your guide, the PDF guide, and also in the appendix of the Mindful Music Classroom book. Thank you for watching. You've made it to the end. Congratulations. I wish you all the best with your teaching, and I hope that you're inspired to incorporate social emotional learning into your classes. I will close with a moving and meaningful choral piece that is really rich with opportunities to talk about SEL themes. It's called What If I Could Tell You by Heather Sorensen.
What if I could tell you no one has to walk alone? You can choose another pathway, one that feels like home. And what if I could tell you this was not your cross to bear?
to wear. And what if I could show you how to lay your burdens down, how to dive into the deep, how to swim but never drown. So shine your light and sing the songs you could not sing before. Fly to your safe on heaven's shore. What if I could tell you, you are seen, you are heard?
You might think your voice is silent, but we hear every word.
And how can I convince you of the worth you cannot see? Shackles have a key, people can be free. What if I could tell you we'll do better than before?